Hello everyone, this is Jenny Welch. Before the coronavirus outbreak, we were planning with our Easter growth group to do stuff for the Good Friday service. As part of that, we were going to be looking at different characters involved in the Easter story, and I found an amazing sermon online about one of the Centurions. It was written by Captain Shannon Filio in the United States Air Force, and I thought I'd read bits of it out on several days for you to listen to, and this is the first part. Were you there? I was there. I'm a Roman centurion, a military officer in charge of 100 soldiers. I have more pride than a pilot of an F-16, an A-10 and a U-2 combined. I'm a soldier. You talk about your men and women of the military, or the Jolly Greens, or the rescue squadron. I'm a soldier, deployed for 1 week in the Middle East, in Jerusalem. I didn't want to be, but the Jews were having a special holiday, Passover, and Rome thought that there might be trouble because of the crowds and because of a certain man and his followers, one Jesus of Nazareth. I had heard of this man. A friend of mine, another centurion, told me how his servant was miraculously healed by him. I was curious, but I was also in no mood for these people's religion. I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want trouble. We were peacekeepers. I arrived on Saturday, the Sabbath. Everything was quiet. I went to bed with the pleasant thought that 1 more week and I would be gone. Sunday morning came quickly. I decided to explore the town, talk to people, see if there was any trouble floating around. Sitting in a downtown Jerusalem cafe, all of a sudden I noticed people running down the street. Then someone came in and yelled, "He's coming! He's coming!" Everyone ran out, and so I followed. We ran to the east side of Jerusalem toward the Mount of Olives, which rose 200 feet higher than the city. And there, coming down the path, was a man on a donkey, a symbol of humility, peace, and royalty. The people were throwing their cloaks on the road, an act of royal homage. The man even sat on some cloaks, and the people were yelling, "Hosanna, Hosanna," which means, "Save now, O Lord." The people were waving palm branches used in celebrations of victory. I asked, "Who is that man? What is his name?" And some little boy next to me cried out, "Why, it's Jesus, it's Jesus." And as he said that name, I looked up again to the mount, the name still ringing in my ears, and I could have sworn, in that brief moment, this man who I had heard so much about was looking right at me, as if he looked straight into my heart, as if he had known me since all of eternity, as if he knew that over the next few days, my life would be changed forever. I noticed that Jewish leaders were upset at this triumphal entry. "Rebuke your disciples," they commanded Jesus, because the people were calling him King and Lord. And Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, if they kept quiet, these very stones will cry out." But then something strange occurred. This man, this king, started weeping. I was curious. What type of man enters as a king and yet is found to be weeping? I moved closer toward him. He was looking over the city of Jerusalem when I heard him say, "If only you had known this day what would bring you peace." My heart lunged toward him. "I want peace. Can you give me peace?" I wondered silently. Monday morning came quickly. I awoke to a shout, "Centurion, wake up! We have trouble in the temple." I ran, and there he was, the weeping king, overturning tables of buyers and sellers in the court of the Gentiles. "My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations," he cried as he drove the merchants out. I wasn't much of a praying man, but it did make me angry that the Jews made the only place we Gentiles were allowed into a noisy, smelly marketplace. People were driving their flocks through because it was a shortcut to the Mount of Olives. I would have stopped him, but I agreed with him. In the commotion, as I was trying to prevent a riot, I turned back toward him, and he looked right at me as if to say, "I cleared this for you." This Jesus was winning my affection. People brought the blind and the lame to him, and he healed them. Before I thought he was just a man, but now, as I watched people who never walked walk, and who couldn't see, I knew there was something more to him. The children of the temple were praising him as he did these miracles. "Hosanna to the Son of David." The priests and scribes rebuked him, and Jesus replied, "Haven't you heard, from out of the mouths of babes and infants you have ordained praise?" I asked someone next to me why that saying so upset the Jewish leaders, and someone said, "He is quoting Psalm 8, where God ordains worship for himself from the lips of children. And now Jesus is claiming that prerogative, that he is God. He is God? He is God? And then I heard the chief priests and teachers whispering, "We have to kill him." That got my attention. Now I had a reason to be here in Jerusalem. Tuesday passed quickly and peaceably. I kept an eye on the Jewish leaders and on Jesus. They questioned his authority as he taught in the temple. One of his teachings caught my ear because it involved my boss, Caesar. The Pharisees asked him, "Teacher, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" If he said yes, he upset the people. If he said no, he upset me. I would have to act. What would he do? What would he say? He took a coin and asked whose inscription was upon it. Someone answered, "Caesar's." "Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." Everyone was amazed, including myself. He taught with such authority and truth. He taught about loving God and loving neighbour. I wanted to stay and listen all day, but I had a job to do.